First, though, this morning, on a very serious note, a look at so-called designer drugs, which are growing in popularity, especially among teens and young adults. And they are killing people. It is frustrating law enforcement officials who want to get the drugs off the street. CBS News investigative correspondent Sharyl Attkisson went along on a recent police raid. She joined us from Washington this morning with the story. Sharyl, good morning.
Good morning, Erica. This raid was on the famous Jersey Shore, where police there say they're alarmed at how many young people are turning to these lab-made drugs, which can have more powerful effects than their organic cousins. It's the most famous stretch of the Jersey Shore, made popular by a TV show, where teens and college kids come to play.
You get 3 shots for 5 or 9 for 10.
Sometimes looking for a high. Ours is the only camera allowed on this boardwalk bust by local and state police. They're looking for so-called designer drugs.
People said you sold drugs that could hurt kids.
I have no idea about this.
Designer drugs have exploded onto the scene here and across the country. They're lab engineered to magnify their effects and disguise them in drug tests. They have nicknames like K2, which is synthetic marijuana, and bath salts, which mimic cocaine or meth. Users may become paranoid and ultra-violent. But when new lab-designed drugs first emerge, they can be perfectly legal, and the federal government can't keep up. Thomas Calcagni is leading New Jersey's crackdown on bath salt drugs.
The crooks can make a new drug faster than the federal government can outlaw it?
Listen, these are backyard chemists. All they need to do is, switch up the molecular makeup of these drugs just a little bit, and they skirt the federal laws.
The Drug Enforcement Administration has outlawed K2, but not the newer bath salts, which are listed only as chemicals of concern. The DEA declined to be interviewed, but said in the past that restricting these drugs can take years.
What's taking the federal government so long?
I can't speak to that, but the reality is we just couldn't wait.
New Jersey and at least 27 other states have banned bath salt drugs, but everywhere else, even a 12-year-old can buy them legally.
Designer drugs are as plentiful as they are dangerous and blamed for unthinkable violence. In Washington state, an Army medic shot his wife and himself, their 5-year-old son found suffocated. In Mississippi, a suspect who allegedly killed a sheriff's deputy was so hyped on bath salts it took 6 men to hold him down. And in Louisiana, this 21-year-old slashed his own throat and shot himself.
We'll see what's going on here.
Back in New Jersey, Seaside Heights Police Chief Thomas Boyd describes the case of a young woman just a week before the bust, allegedly hallucinating on K2.
She actually went into like a delirium. She went into saying there's movies playing in her head, and she was on a 3rd floor balcony, and we got up there and she jumped off.
Somehow she survived. This summer, raids on 30 New Jersey shops have netted 3,000 packets of designer drugs.
If it's sold for people want to get high off of it, and they come to you to buy it for that reason, it's illegal.
Police say they caught this man selling suspected designer drugs in his shop on the Jersey Shore, including the same type that allegedly caused the woman to jump off the 3rd floor.
So, Cheryl, we understand why there's such a concern over the drugs, but what about the people selling them? What could happen to them?
Right now, it's sort of a small infraction. The suspect arrested on this raid that you saw faces 3rd-degree distribution charges for allegedly selling to an undercover officer, and he was out on bond the same day. Police say the investigation's continuing. They still haven't figured out how to get at the suppliers who are marketing to the shops and putting the drugs on the street.
Scary stuff. Sharyl Attkisson in Washington this morning. Sharyl, thanks.